Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast where we make learning English both fun and practical. I'm Eleanor, and today we have an incredibly fascinating topic lined up for you. We're going to dive into the evolution of the English language, how it has changed over time, and how it continues to evolve even today. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, Oliver. How are you today, Oliver?
Hi, Eleanor. I'm doing great. And I'm really excited about today's episode. The evolution of the English language is such a rich and intriguing topic. We'll be looking at how English has transformed from its early beginnings to the language we use today. And don't worry, we'll also cover a grammar lesson, introduce 5 new vocabulary words, and give you plenty of reasons to stick around until the end. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave your comments and reviews.
Let's kick things off with a bit of history. Did you know that English is a Germanic language? It started with the arrival of 3 Germanic tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, in Britain during the 5th century. They spoke what we now call Old English. It's almost unrecognizable compared to modern English.
That's right, Eleanor. Old English was heavily influenced by the languages of those Germanic tribes. For example, words like be, strong, and water all have roots in Old English. However, as time went on, the language began to evolve. This brings us to our first vocabulary word, evolve. Evolve means to develop gradually over time, especially from a simple to a more complex form.
Great word, Oliver. As English evolved, it was influenced by other languages, particularly after the Norman conquest in 1066, when the Normans, who spoke Old French, took over England. They brought their language with them. This period marks the transition from Old English to Middle English. Many French words entered the English language, especially in areas like law, government, and art.
Exactly, Eleanor. For example, words like court, judge, and government all have French origins. This blending of languages made English richer and more diverse. It also began to standardize during this period, thanks to the influence of the church and the introduction of printing in the 15th century. This brings us to our second vocabulary word, standardize. Standardize means to make something conform to a standard, making it consistent and uniform.
Standardization was key in making English more accessible to everyone. By the time we reach the early modern English period, from the late 15th to the early 17th century, English had undergone significant changes. This period includes the time of Shakespeare, whose works had a huge impact on the language. Shakespeare alone is credited with coining over 1,700 words that are still in use today.
That's incredible, Eleanor. Shakespeare's influence on English is undeniable. His creative use of language, including the invention of new words and expressions, enriched English immensely. And speaking of creative language, let's introduce our third vocabulary word, coin. Coin means to invent or devise a new word or phrase.
Shakespeare coined phrases we still use today like break the ice and heart of gold. As we move forward to the 18th century, we enter the period of late modern English. This is when the Industrial Revolution brought about many new inventions, which required new words and terms. English also began to spread around the world, thanks to the British Empire.
That's right, Eleanor. The expansion of the British Empire meant that English absorbed words from many other languages, including Hindi, Arabic, and Chinese. This global influence continues today, making English a truly international language. Let's introduce our fourth vocabulary word, absorb. Absorb means to take in or soak up something, such as ideas, knowledge, or liquids.
The ability of English to absorb and adapt new words has kept it vibrant and relevant. And it's still evolving. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the rise of technology and the internet has introduced a whole new set of vocabulary. Words like email, hashtag, and selfie are all recent additions to the English language.
Exactly, Eleanor. And as the language continues to evolve, so does the way we communicate. This brings us to our grammar lesson for today, the difference between formal and informal English. Understanding when to use each is crucial, especially in a business or academic setting.
Great choice, Oliver. Formal English is used in serious or professional contexts, such as academic papers, business correspondence, and official documents. It often avoids contractions, slang, and colloquialisms. For example, instead of saying "I'm gonna," you would say "I am going to."
On the other hand, informal English is more relaxed and conversational. It's what you would use when talking to friends or in casual emails. It often includes contractions, slang, and a more relaxed sentence structure. For example, "I'm gonna" is perfectly acceptable in informal speech.
Let's practice with a few examples. Repeat after us.
1. Formal. "I have received your email and will respond shortly." Informal. "Got your email, I'll get back to you soon." 2. Formal. "I would like to schedule a meeting to discuss the proposal." Informal. "Let's set up a meeting to talk about the proposal."
3. Formal. "Please ensure that all documents are submitted by the deadline." And informal. "Make sure to send in all the docs on time." 4. Formal. "It is imperative that we adhere to the guidelines provided." Informal. "We really need to stick to the rules."
Great job. Understanding the difference between formal and informal English helps you navigate various situations effectively. Now, let's talk about how English continues to evolve today, especially with the influence of social media and global communication.
Social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok have had a huge impact on the way we use language. New words, phrases, and even abbreviations are constantly being created and spread across the globe. This brings us to our final vocabulary word, influence. Influence means the power to have an effect on people or things, or to shape how something develops.
Social media's influence on language is undeniable. Words like viral, trending, and even emojis have become part of our everyday communication. It's fascinating to see how quickly these changes happen and how English adapts to new ways of expressing ideas.
And as English continues to evolve, it's important to stay curious and open to learning new words and expressions. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to encourage all our listeners to pay attention to how language is used around them. Notice the differences in how people speak in different contexts, and don't be afraid to experiment with new words and phrases.
That's great advice, Eleanor, and we'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments how you've noticed English evolving in your own life. Have you come across any new words or expressions recently? We'll feature some of your observations in our next episode.
Before we go, we have an exciting announcement. We're launching a monthly contest. Submit a short video or audio clip of you discussing how English has evolved in your country or culture. The best entry will be featured in our next podcast, and the winner will receive a special prize.
That's right, Eleanor. We can't wait to see your submissions. This is a great opportunity to put what you've learned into practice and share your insights with our community.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you found this exploration of the evolution of the English language both informative and engaging. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share this podcast with your friends. Your feedback means the world to us, so leave a review and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover next.
Stay curious, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.